I need to tell you something that has shaken me to my absolute core, and I am not someone who shakes easily. Before we begin, I need you to do something for me right now. Comment your specific city name below and tell me honestly, have you noticed anything unusual in the night sky? Anything different at all? NASA wants to know. They need to know because what I'm about to share with you may fundamentally change the way you see humanity's place in the universe forever. I have spent my entire life studying the cosmos. I have walked among the complex equations that govern black holes, wormholes, and parallel universes. I have peered into the mathematical fabric of reality itself. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for what happened when 3 Atlas collided with something that simply shouldn't exist. It began as a routine observation. 3 Atlas, an interstellar comet from beyond our solar system, was traveling through space at approximately 75,000 miles per hour. We have tracked objects like this before: Oumuamua, Borisov, visitors from the deep cosmic ocean drifting through our little corner of the galaxy before disappearing back into the void. Standard celestial mechanics, predictable trajectories, nothing extraordinary. Except this time, something went catastrophically wrong. On October 17th at 3:42 Universal Time, 3 Atlas stopped. Not slowed, not deflected, stopped dead, as if it had slammed into an invisible wall in the vacuum of space. The shockwave that followed was detected by gravitational wave observatories across 3 continents. LIGO picked it up, Virgo picked it up. Kagra in Japan registered an anomaly so profound that scientists initially thought their instruments had malfunctioned, but they hadn't. The data was real. The collision was real. And the barrier was something we have no framework to understand. I remember the exact moment I received the call. It was late evening. I was reviewing lecture notes on string theory, lost in the elegant mathematics of 11-dimensional space-time. My phone rang. It was a colleague from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Her voice was shaking. She said 3 words that I will never forget. "Michio, it's confirmed." I asked what was confirmed. There was a long pause. Then she said, "The wall. We found the wall." You have to understand something about space. Space is not a place. It's a structure, a fabric woven from the threads of space-time itself. When we say something is empty, we mean it contains no matter, no particles, no atoms. But space-time itself is always there, stretching, bending, folding according to the mass and energy within it. There is no such thing as an impenetrable barrier in empty space. It violates everything we know about physics, and yet there it was. The collision produced what can only be described as a ripple, a distortion in space-time so violent that it propagated outward like a stone thrown into a cosmic pond. Observatories detected gravitational anomalies. Radio telescopes picked up a burst of energy across multiple frequencies. And then, for exactly 11 seconds, every satellite within a 15 million mile radius experienced simultaneous data corruption. 11 seconds. That number haunts me. When the systems came back online, the teams began analyzing the telemetry from 3 Atlas. What they found defied comprehension. The comet had impacted something with a surface area measuring approximately 4 astronomical units in diameter. To put that in perspective, that is 4 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun. This wasn't a small anomaly. This was a structure, a boundary enclosing a region of space larger than the orbit of Mars. But here is what terrifies me most. The barrier didn't just stop the comet, it absorbed it. Within hours, 3 Atlas began to disintegrate, not from heat or friction, but from something else. Its molecular structure was breaking apart at the atomic level, as if the very bonds holding it together were being systematically dissolved. And as it disintegrated, it released energy, a lot of energy. Spectroscopic analysis revealed something even stranger. The light emitted during the disintegration didn't match any known elemental signature. It was as if the atoms themselves were being converted into something other, something that doesn't exist on the periodic table. Exotic matter, perhaps, or information, pure encoded information. That is when the signal began. At first it was dismissed as noise, cosmic background radiation interference, but one of the researchers, a young astrophysicist named Dr. Elena Vasquez noticed a pattern. The signal wasn't random. It had structure, repetition, mathematics. It was being broadcast from the exact coordinates where 3 Atlas had made contact with the barrier. I was brought in to consult. When I saw the data, my hands went cold. The signal was a sequence of prime numbers followed by a geometric progression, followed by what appeared to be a 3-dimensional coordinate system. This wasn't natural. This was deliberate. This was a message. But from whom? And more importantly, to whom? We assembled a team, physicists, mathematicians, linguists, cryptographers, even philosophers, because we knew that understanding this message might require us to think in ways humanity had never thought before. For 3 weeks, we worked in isolation at a secure facility. No press, no leaks, just raw data and the crushing weight of what we might discover. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. One of the linguists, Dr. Samir Khan, suggested we stop thinking of the signal as a message and start thinking of it as a map. He overlaid the geometric coordinates onto a model of our galaxy, and that is when we saw it. The signal was marking locations, dozens of them, hundreds, all arranged in a perfect grid spanning the Orion arm of the Milky Way. Each point corresponded to a star system, and each system had one thing in common: they contained planets in the habitable zone, planets where life could theoretically evolve. We were looking at a map of quarantine zones. I need you to think about what that means. Really think about it. A galactic civilization, or something far beyond a civilization, has constructed barriers around specific regions of space, regions where life is emerging, regions where intelligence might one day arise. And we, humanity, are inside one of those zones. The implications are staggering. It means we are being contained, isolated, perhaps protected, or perhaps studied, like bacteria in a petri dish, evolving under the watchful eye of something incomprehensibly advanced. We are not the explorers we believed ourselves to be. We are the experiment. This is not the universe we were taught to imagine. We grew up on stories of Star Trek and Contact, visions of a cosmos filled with benevolent neighbors waiting to welcome us into a galactic community. But what if the truth is darker? What if intelligence, once it reaches a certain threshold, becomes something else entirely? What if consciousness itself is the trigger for containment? The signal continued for 72 hours, and then just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. But before it ended, it transmitted one final sequence, a countdown. We don't know what the countdown represents. We don't know when it began or when it will reach 0, but the mathematics are clear. Whatever is going to happen, it is already in motion. And the collision of 3 Atlas with that invisible barrier that may have been the catalyst, a cosmic tripwire, an alarm. I have spent my life believing that the universe operates according to laws, beautiful, elegant laws that can be understood through mathematics and observation. But now I am forced to confront a different possibility. What if the universe isn't just governed by physics? What if it is governed by intention, by design, by something with the power to draw boundaries around entire star systems and enforce those boundaries with technology we can't even detect, let alone comprehend? And here is the question that keeps me awake at night. Why now? Why? After billions of years of cosmic silence, does this barrier reveal itself? Why does 3 Atlas, a random comet from interstellar space, trigger this response? Is it because we have reached a critical point in our evolution? Because we have developed nuclear weapons, artificial intelligence, quantum computers? Because we are finally capable of understanding the message? Or is it because we have become a threat? There is a theory in astrobiology called the Great Filter. It proposes that somewhere between the emergence of simple life and the development of galaxy-spanning civilizations, there exists a filter, a bottleneck that prevents most species from advancing. Some believe the filter is behind us, that we have already passed the hardest test. Others believe it is ahead, that there is some inevitable catastrophe waiting for every intelligent species, some trap that none escape. But what if the filter isn't a natural process? What if it is artificial? What if advanced civilizations don't fail because of war or climate collapse or resource depletion? What if they fail because they are not allowed to succeed? Because something out there, something ancient and powerful, has decided that intelligence beyond a certain point is too dangerous to permit. The barrier around our solar system might not be protection. It might be a cage. Since the collision, NASA has quietly redirected several deep space probes. Voyager, which has traveled beyond the heliopause and into interstellar space, has been sending back strange data. Fluctuations in the cosmic ray environment, anomalies in the magnetic field, and twice now, brief interruptions in its signal lasting exactly 11 seconds each time. 11 seconds, that number again. We have also detected something else, something I hesitate to even mention because of how profoundly unsettling it is. In the weeks following the Shockwave from 3 Atlas, astronomers began noticing changes in the behavior of distant stars. Stars thousands of light years away, their light reaching us from epochs long past, began to flicker in patterns. Not random patterns, sequential patterns, as if they were communicating. But here is the paradox. These stars are so far away that by the time their light reaches us, they may no longer exist. We are seeing the ghosts of ancient suns, blinking messages across the void of time and space. Who sent those messages? And how did they know we would be here now, watching? Unless time itself is part of the design, unless causality, the very notion of cause and effect, is something these beings can manipulate. If that is true, then we are not just dealing with a more advanced civilization. We are dealing with something that exists outside the flow of time as we understand it. Something that can see the entire history of the universe laid out like a map and choose precisely when and where to act. That thought should fill us with wonder. Instead, it fills me with dread. I think about humanity's journey. We crawled out of the ocean. We built tools. We discovered fire. We painted on cave walls and looked up at the stars and asked, what's out there? We split the atom. We walked on the moon. We sent golden records into space carrying the sounds of Earth, music, laughter, greetings in 55 languages, hoping that someday someone would find them and know we existed. But what if they already knew? What if they have been watching us the entire time, waiting for us to reach this exact moment? The moment when we become aware of the barrier, the moment when we realize we are not alone, but we are also not free. I used to believe that contact with an alien intelligence would be the greatest moment in human history, a cosmic epiphany, proof that we are part of something larger, something magnificent. Now, I'm not so sure because contact implies communication, it implies exchange. But what we have discovered isn't communication. It is a boundary, a warning, a line we were never meant to cross. And 3 Atlas crossed it. The scientific community is divided. Some believe the barrier is a natural phenomenon, something born from exotic physics we haven't yet discovered, dark matter structures perhaps, or higher dimensional brains intersecting our universe. They cling to the hope that this can all be explained within the framework of known science. But others, and I find myself increasingly among them, believe we are witnessing something intentional, something built, a megastructure, on a scale that makes the Death Star look like a child's toy, a Dyson sphere perhaps, but not around a star, around an entire region of space around us. If that is true, then every assumption we have made about our place in the cosmos must be reevaluated. We are not the pioneers. We are the observed, and the barrier isn't keeping something out. It is keeping us in. There is an old philosophical thought experiment called the Fermi paradox. It asks a simple question. If the universe is so vast and so old, why haven't we encountered alien civilizations? The silence is deafening. We have sent signals. We have listened with powerful radio telescopes. We have searched for biosignatures on exoplanets, and yet nothing. No response, no evidence, just an endless cosmic quiet. But maybe we were asking the wrong question. Maybe the reason we haven't heard from anyone is because no one is allowed to speak. Maybe the galaxy is teeming with life. But every civilization that reaches a certain level of development is placed behind a barrier, quarantined, observed, evaluated, and only those who pass some unknown test are permitted to join the galactic community. If such a community even exists, what would that test be? What could an intelligence so advanced even be looking for? Compassion, sustainability, technological restraint, or something we can't even conceptualize, something beyond morality, beyond wisdom? Perhaps they are waiting to see if we destroy ourselves, or perhaps they are waiting to see if we transcend ourselves. Because here is the thing, we are on the verge of becoming something new. Artificial intelligence is evolving at an exponential pace. Quantum computing is unlocking realms of calculation previously thought impossible. Genetic engineering is giving us the power to rewrite our own DNA. We are no longer purely biological beings. We are merging with our machines, expanding our consciousness, reaching towards something posthuman. Maybe that is the line. Maybe when a species begins to merge with its technology, when it begins to exceed the limitations of flesh and bone, that is when the barrier activates. That is when the watchers take notice. And maybe, just maybe, 3 Atlas wasn't a random comet at all. Maybe it was a probe sent by someone or something to test the perimeter, to see if we are ready, to see if the barrier is still holding. It wasn't. The shockwave that rippled through space wasn't just a physical phenomenon. It was a signal, a declaration. The barrier has been breached. The quarantine is compromised. And now the countdown is running. I don't know what will happen when it reaches 0. I don't know if we will be invited to step beyond the wall or if the wall will collapse inward, erasing us from existence. I don't know if we are about to witness first contact or final judgment. What I